This is our AT and MIT webinar recap for February 10th through the 14th of 2025. We had a really good week. It started out with a little bit of a loss. It's about a 1% loss overall. But then we had really the rest of the week was just a pretty solid climb. I mean, more wins. There's a couple other losses mixed throughout, but overall it came out to a total return of 1% with a 75% win percentage. But the ratio down here that we can see with our average win and our average loss came out really, really good. To about an average win around $400, an average loss around $700. So we're better than a 2-to-1 ratio, which a 2-to-1 ratio requires a win percentage over 71%. So where we were better than 2-to-1, we probably only needed around a 67, 68% win percentage to be positive. So a 75 came in really, really nice for the overall week. Now for that 2 weeks stretch now, I mean, we're sitting more closer to like right around 80%, like 3% growth. So really, it's been a really good stretch so far for the last little bit here on the two webinars. But one thing I want to show you is one of the trades we took on the afternoon trade. This is Thursday the 13th. And yeah, so let me pull that one up. So this was one we did on the NASDAQ. Now, with the NASDAQ, when we looked this up Thursday afternoon, we could see that the pressure was really, really strong here on our one-day chart, really across the board. You can just see how our pressure indicators are angled up really steep. Green on top on like the 8-hour was another good sign that this was going to continue to climb. But we could see the minor starting to turn, especially where everything was overbought. So the thought process here was it's probably going to drop first and then get us a bigger climb. Okay, because with these pressures being as strong as they are, any drop is going to be kind of minimal, and it's going to do a lot bigger climb, moving potentially into the next 3 days of just climbing. So what we did is we put our entry point with a pending order buy limit to enter just above our red pressure line, put a stop loss down beneath where our pressure lines cross, which often becomes a level, and then we stretched a little bit further to go beyond this wick. Okay, so it's about a 161 point stop. And then our take profit, we decided to go for a 1 to 1.5 ratio, and that's this 150% line up here. So we're risking 161 and going for 242. Okay. Now, what ends up happening is the market does end up actually climbing a little bit first, right? And then eventually what we end up getting, I think it was almost like 4:35 in the morning the next day, we get this big red candle that comes down and just perfectly enters us into this trade. Okay. Now, because this was a Thursday going into a Friday and it didn't jump or really didn't pull us in until later, the thought process was, let's go ahead and try to get a profitable stop loss running, which is what we ended up doing throughout the morning, because you can kind of see how this climbs. And we end up getting pretty close to around a 2-to-1 profit overall. But I want to show you how this moved, because we were targeting this resistance level. And the belief was that the market was going to move with this strong upward pressure up to the next strongest level, which was the 22221 level. And it ends up going almost perfectly to our 150% profit throughout Sunday night. And you can just see it taps it perfectly here and then just pulls right back off of it. So our target of the 150% was absolutely spot on. Even if we got out with a profitable stop earlier on Friday, if the trade would have been held, it would have gone perfectly to the profit we were intending. So another really good afternoon trade that shows just really the power of our indicators and the way that we can read them. Sets us up for some really good ratios and percentages.